Right, welcome back. This is my Game Boy collection video, as requested by you good guys. Just to start off with, can you get any more kind of iconic, hope you can see that right, than that boot up sequence? Probably not in video gaming history, to be honest with you. Game Boy's a system I hold very close to my heart. I'm just going to do a quick jump cut now to a photo of me many years ago, about 1991, with my friend playing on the Game Boy, and I've got a Mega Drive controller in my hand. So I'm just going to do a quick jump cut to that, and I'll talk you through that. Okay, so that's me on the left there with Mega Drive controller in front of my face. I've got my friend there on the right playing on what I believe is my Game Boy. I think I'm holding a copy of Double Dragon there in my hand as well, but proper nostalgic photo. That's in our front living room in the house I grew up in. I think my mum or my aunt took this photo. But yeah, that's a genuine slice of 1990, 1991 UK there, guys. I'm still pretty much dressing the same now, I've just got no hair. Okay. Right, so this is my Game Boy. This is the DMG-01 model, the OG, the original one. Copy of Tetris that came bundled with all the kind of Western Game Boys as well. Yeah, really good condition all around. A little bit of rust there on the external connector there for multiplayer games, but other than that, it works well. The screen's good, the speaker works, headphones work. Really good condition, really happy with that. There you go. So the good old Game Boy, I mean, not only being a cultural phenomenon, is a system I hold very close to my heart. This is right up there with the Mega Drive, really, because in that kind of golden dawn of video gaming in this country in like 1990, 91, it was just the Mega Drive and the Game Boy for me. When I wasn't playing my Mega Drive, I was playing on my Game Boy. And this lovely little thing kind of introduced me to the Nintendo back catalogue and how good the games were. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the NES flopped pretty bad in the UK. You knew there was some good games out there, but it wasn't highly regarded. And the Game Boy, with its amazing games, affordability, just kind of really introduced you to some amazing Nintendo franchises and games, even though they're in black and white. These are everywhere. Everyone had one of these. Although most people, myself included, didn't take it into kind of regular school days because you're worried about it getting broke, someone trashing it or getting robbed. So this tends to be kind of used a lot at home, you know, long road trips, you know, with my parents, or you know, if you were going on like a school field trip or something, they'd come out as well on the bus. But yeah, kept these away from school because you don't want to get them smashed. So yeah, phenomenal machine this is. I love the Game Boy. The games are, you know, although they do look basic and simple by today's standards, they are absolutely amazing. Before we get into the games, I'll just show what else I've got. This is the first thing that I started collecting, actually. I've got a Game Boy Pocket because, you know, I love translucent plastics. This one sadly broke. I think it got dropped or something fell on it, you know, under my ownership. I don't know what happened. It was intermittently working. It looks like the battery point fell off. Needs soldering back on. And there's a bit of some cracks in the cases where the pins fall through. I might end up selling that on eBay on parts. It does work, but it does need a fix, and the case needs a bit of bodging to get it fixed as well. But yeah, you can't beat translucent plastics. I do love clear plastics, just like the Crystal Xbox and stuff like that. Marvellous. And the other thing I've got is, which might seem crazy to a lot of people nowadays, is the Newbie Game Light. I don't know if you can see that. Now, I never had one of these as a kid, but what it does, it's very simple. It takes 3 AA batteries, are really chunky. You can see that there. It just lights up because the original Game Boy didn't have a backlit screen. So what you do is you just put that on top of that like that. It slides into the groove on the Game Boy. I don't know if you can see that okay. It lights up your screen so you can play in the dark, because believe it or not, in the early 90s on the Game Boy, if you're in the dark, you couldn't play your game because you couldn't see, you needed light. So that does it really well. And to be honest with you, despite the huge batteries, it's a really nice piece of design. It slots into that with no messing or anything like that, and holds really well and lights up your games, not too obtrusive. So that's a Newbie Game Light. These things were quite big actually in the early 90s. Right, onto the games. It's a small collection, but it's all about games I had when I was a kid, and it's a huge nostalgic kick for me. And I've got the versions of games, not necessarily the versions I had back in the day, but it's still pretty much the same game. And I am missing one game that I really want to add, but I'm just too lazy and a bit too tight to add it, and that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja for the Foot Clan game. I love that game, got a lot of nostalgia for it, but I've never bought it to add to the collection. So let's start off then with Tetris. crack open the case. No, I can't crack open the case. Indeed I can. There's Tetris. My own personal memories of this is that my dad absolutely loved Tetris. He probably spent more time on my Game Boy than me. He played Tetris endlessly. He was amazing at it, and he completed it a lot of times. It got to the bits, you know, as the space shuttle taking off. I mean, I've never completed Tetris myself. A space shuttle takes off, Mario appears. He did something pretty incredible, really. I think what completely just ended the game, almost like a kill screen. Almost, he was that good at it. Obviously, don't quote me on that. I don't know how factual that is, but I do remember things about the space shuttle going off at the end and stuff, and Mario appearing and stuff like that. He was really, really good at Tetris, and yeah, my dad loved that game. And whenever I see Tetris, I think first of my dad first before a game. But it's incredible, isn't it? That really. Right. Another game I've got a lot of nostalgia for, which I played again recently, isn't too bad. That's The Amazing Spider-Man. Sorry about the camera shake there. There's a bit of wind blowing through. That's Amazing Spider-Man, and that looks like it was owned by R&J or Rob Parker back in the day. They're in the UK because it's a UK version. Played this a lot. Better than the Mega Drive Spider-Man game, and just a fun kind of side-scroller action game. It's really, really good. The graphics can be a bit dodgy sometimes, but it's a good game. I would recommend that for your collection. Another awesome game now. I've lost all strength in my hands. I can't open these boxes. WWF Superstars. This is really, really good. I think it's time it was released. It was probably the best wrestling game on the Nintendo or the Game Boy. This was really, really good. Big, large sprites, all the theme music. Kind of get promos and intros before the matches start, and that's a brilliant game and definitely worth adding to your collection at WWF Superstars, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Great game. Next we're going to go on to, this is Probotector, aka is it Operation C, the American version, or just Contra, the Japanese one. I had the Japanese version as a kid, Contra. I think I got it from Console Concepts in Stoke, and my dad took me to Stoke to get it, and I just chose that game. Not like me, I hadn't read any reviews or anything. I just liked the box artwork on the Japanese version. It just blew me away. This is the European version with reskinned robots for German censorship laws back in the day. Plays exactly the same, just with robots instead of people. And an awesome game. Would recommend any version of Contra you can get on the Game Boy. That is superb. Next up, we've got Alleyway. This is a game that's basically just like breakout clowns like Arkanoid, and they've just kind of shoved Mario into it to kind of make the to try and make that tenuous link with Nintendo. No real nostalgia for this one, but this is my latest kind of Game Boy pickup. I picked it up a couple of years ago. Got this from CEX in Birmingham, so shout out to all the Birmingham Massive. That is an okay game, it's all right, but I think I paid like £2 for it, so I couldn't say no. Next up then is, now I didn't see this version back in the day anywhere, but it was a big game, and this is Tennis on the Game Boy. Okay. Nice little sticker on the back as well. I think this was a launch title. This is the Japanese version, you're going to tell by the stickers. Just a great game of simple tennis. This played this a lot when I was a kid. It was a lot of people had it, so you could play like the link-up games. I remember, when I was a kid, lots of people playing two-player on this, like linked up, because it was. I think it was just a game that everyone had, probably because it was cheap as well, and it was an early game. But yeah, that was the only game I ever saw played two-player other than Tetris. Was tennis, and it's a good game. Definitely worth picking up for your collection. And I've got the Japanese version of Double Dragon. This is another amazing Game Boy game, better than the NES game. Not quite as good as Double Dragon 2 on the NES, but that is superb. In fact, I'll need to collect all 3 Double Dragon games for the Game Boy, to be honest with you. But yeah, great box artwork. I had the European version as a kid. I remember my mum getting it for me and bringing it back when she came back from work, and I've got fond memories of not expecting much from it because there's been some awful ports of Double Dragon, and being amazed just how good it was. Superb game, definitely add that to your collection. Now we've got another game that everybody played. This is a very important game. This is Super Mario Land. Now, to me, this game was hugely popular in the UK, and prior to this, Mario games hadn't been very popular at all. in the UK certainly, from my experience anyway. This changed all that. That everyone was playing that game. The music was iconic. The music was everywhere. And this kind of made people look at sit up and pay attention to Mario games on other formats and paved the way for Super Mario World to be a huge success. This is a great game. It's a bit simplistic compared to other Mario games, but it plays superb. The music's brilliant. And all that music was so good. It was actually, did it get to like in the top 10 in the UK charts? It was kind of remixed and sampled by somebody. And it was released in like 92, 91, and it was just huge, that tune was. Let me know if you've actually got that in your record collection. But yeah, hugely important game. The music just transports me to a happier place back in the 90s. And my dad used to play this a bit as well, so I've got memories of my dad playing Super Mario World. And then finally, I've got a reproduction. Can you tell it's a reproduction? But it's Pokemon Red. Now, the price of genuine Pokemon cartridges are ridiculous. Now, if you're a Pokemon Pro, you can tell that's a reproduction straight away. But this works brilliantly. Works the original hardware fine. It saves the game. I think it's like a system on a chip. It's not really. I mean, one of the advantages of reproductions is that they are, I think, system on the chip. They're not battery backed up, so you don't have to worry about your battery running out or leaking or anything like that. It'll kind of last forever as long as the circuit board lasts. So that's a big advantage of these. And it just plays exactly like the original cart. I got that because, you know, by the late 90s, I didn't have a Game Boy. Pokemon was huge with kids, and I was like, well, I was an adult by then. I was 18, 19, so I didn't have much time for Pokemon, but I now understand why people love these games. And that was like from AliExpress for a couple of quid. So yeah, marvellous. So yeah, one final shot of the old beauty. Very special machine for me, the Game Boy. Hope you've enjoyed this collection video. If you've got any questions, any comments, just put them down in the comment section. And yeah, it's been a nice little trip down memory lane in the sunshine, hasn't it? In a bit.